Hi, I'm Marc, and on this channel I talk about Brexit and UK politics. And Britain's data protection watchdog said on Wednesday that former NatWest chief executive Alison Rose violated Nigel Farage data rights when she spoke to a BBC journalist about the former Brexit Party leader's relationship with the bank. And NatWest is reeling from its private bank Coutts' decision to axe Farage as a client after an internal committee decided his views did not match those of the lender. We cooperate fully with the ICO, that's the Information Commissioner's Office, in assessing customer complaints, but it would not be appropriate for us to comment on this individual case, is what a NatWest spokesman said afterwards. Rose was forced to resign in July after admitting a serious error in briefing a reporter about the matter. The ICO did not specifically name Rose in a statement saying it had completed a review of a customer's complaint. However, the regulator found that the person in question had resigned. Farage welcomed the ICO's decision and said NatWest should cut Rose's termination pay and bonuses as well. It would be a scandal if she got away with a huge sum of money, is what Farage said on GB News television. We upheld the complaint on 2 points, he said. They said, we have found that an individual employed by NatWest shared information that they should not have shared, and in doing so breached the complainant's data protection rights, an ICO spokesperson said. And we have made it clear to the bank that these actions were unacceptable and should not happen again. Given that the individual in question has resigned from his or her position and the bank has launched its own investigation, we do not intend to take any further regulatory action at this time, they said. The ICO's decision was first reported by the Financial Times. And this is a sensitive time for NatWest, which is due to report its quarterly results this week. The bank's board is also considering the initial findings of the investigation into the Farage incident conducted by law firm Travis Smith and is considering whether to cut Rose's pay package. But to understand it all, let's quickly recap what happened at the time and what was present in the media. I talked about this in a video as well, but let's do it. The right-wing populist saw himself as a victim of woke banks and believed his country was on the way to Chinese conditions. And in the midst of the turmoil, the head of the bank had to leave, as I said. And according to the bank boss, it was purely a business consideration. After the bank customer had paid off a mortgage, his business volume fell below the required minimum value at Coutts, the subsidiary of the British banking group NatWest that focuses on corporate and, yes, wealthy private customers. Consequently, the bank informed its customer that his previous account would be closed. Instead, he could use the services of the parent company like several million other Brits. However, the affected customer is not a Brit like millions of others, but the right-wing populist and a former head of the Brexit Party, Nigel Farage. A week after he made the case public, NatWest boss Alison Rose not only had to publicly apologize to the politician, but has also resigned from her post. Banking regulators, the government and parliament were excitedly debating the threat posed by those woke banks. And according to Farage's account, he was debanked, that means excluded from the banking system, because of his political views. This, he complained first in a video message and then in numerous interviews, not only deprived him personally of his basic right to a bank account and affected his future and even the possibility of continuing to live in this country. According to Farage, his case shows that woke banks are threatening freedom of expression in Great Britain. The country would be in danger of ending up like China with a social credit system, where social participation depends on whether one represents desired views. If they can cancel me, they can cancel you too, is what Farage warned his fellow citizens. This warning resonated with a wide audience. Conservative politicians spoke of a disgrace, and Prime Minister Rishi Sunak promised in Parliament that he would not tolerate political discrimination by banks and would defend the right to freedom of expression. And commentators in the media complained about woke banking as well. The bank itself and politicians from the left and liberal spectrum, however, pointed out that Farage had by no means been debanked and that this danger did not threaten other Britons either. Well, if you could go to NatWest, they are right. The politician, who likes to present himself as a representative of the ordinary citizens against the elite, was apparently offended because he should make do with the same banking services as these ordinary citizens. However, the case is not as simple as the bank initially made it out to be, that Farage was almost automatically downgraded after his mortgage was repaid. Internal documents that the bank gave to Farage at his request and that he published during the public debate show that risk managers at Coates discussed Farage. Among other things, it was considered that Farage's controversial views contradicted their position as an inclusive organization and that the business relationship with him represented a reputational risk, and Farage was also called a racist. His controversial views on the subject of COVID were cited, as is his advocacy for tennis star Novak Djokovic, who caused a scandal and was not allowed to enter Australia because he did not want to be vaccinated against COVID. Farage and his camp viewed the relevant passages from bank documents as well as the apology and resignation of the NatWest boss as evidence of their version of the incident and of an actual threat to freedom of expression in Great Britain by this woke financial industry. What is overlooked, however, is that the bank's risk managers did not target Farage arbitrarily. They were even required by law to regularly review any risks associated with doing business with him. Officials like Farage are considered politically exposed persons for whom banks must apply particularly strict standards, especially when it comes to preventing money laundering. And this causes high costs compared to other customers. And according to Farage, several banks refused to accept him as a customer, citing his PEP status. And NatWest boss also resigned not because of the account termination, but because of a serious mistake in the public debate that followed. And that was the one from the beginning of the video. In defense of the bank's conduct, she confirmed to the BBC that Farage's dealings with the bank were below Coutts' minimum standards. A customer must have loans or investments from the bank of at least £1 million or have deposits of £3 million in their account. And this information reveals information about Farage's personal finances that Rose should not have made public. We know that Farage is a controversial figure and has been described as a populist, Eurosceptic and nativist. He has been praised by some for his role in the UK's withdrawal from the European Union, but he has also been criticized for his inflammatory rhetoric and divisive views. Farage was born in London and attended Dulwich College. That's a prestigious private school, so much about the ordinary citizen. After leaving school, he became a commodities trader. He entered politics in the early 1990s, joining the Conservative Party. However, he became disillusioned with the Conservatives and joined UKIP in 1993. Farage was elected to the European Parliament in 1999, and he quickly rose through the ranks of UKIP and became its leader in 2006. Under Farage's leadership, UKIP became increasingly popular, particularly among voters who were opposed to the UK's membership of the European Union. In 2016, Farage campaigned for the UK to leave the EU in the referendum on the UK's membership of the EU. The UK voted to leave the EU, and Farage resigned as leader of UKIP. In 2019, Farage launched the Brexit Party, which won the most seats in the UK in the 2019 European Parliament election. And the Brexit Party was renamed Reform UK in 2021. Farage is currently a presenter for GB News. He's also the honorary president of Reform UK. And as I said, Farage is a divisive figure, but he has been a significant figure in British politics in recent years. He has played a major role in the UK's withdrawal from the European Union and has changed the political landscape in the UK. But we in the EU are very happy that he's not in that parliament anymore. And if you want to know more, the next video is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.